Hey everyone, this is Living Dead Gal and welcome back to another Sims 4 video. Today I am going to be doing a step-by-step breakdown of how I design my alpha Sims and sort of the essential pieces of CC that I use to give my Sims that more realistic look that many of them have. This was actually an idea suggested by a fellow Simmer and friend over on Twitter, Snowy95, and she's actually a mod creator. She does really amazing custom traits, mood packs, and aspirations. I am going to put a link to her Patreon page below just to give her a shout out for kind of suggesting this idea. And I know a lot of you ask me questions about the CC I use in my game. This video is actually going to be the start of a series of videos where I go over my absolute favorite CC. So I figured today we would just start with my process and my essentials, and then from there we will do a feature on different types of CC. Let's go ahead and dive right into how I make my Sims. So as you can see, I've got a base Sim here that I'm starting with. Usually I roll the dice until I get a base that I think has a look that I want to work with, and then I will strip them of all of the weird clothing that has been put on them and weird accessories, and I get them kind of just down to their base. I thought she was super cute when I rolled her. I mean, her eyebrows are like from the 90s, taking me back a bit, but we will fix that right up. So the first thing I'm going to go over is my default feet replacements. I use the newest Magic Bot default feet. So it's just default feet version 7, I believe, and I will put a link to those. I'll have like a document with a link to all of the CC that I'm showcasing here. But I really like these replacements because it just adds like more realistic feet. I mean, if you think about like how the feet are in The Sims, what are those? They're very blocky, you know, and there's no definition between the toes. I feel really creepy talking about this. When I found these default replacements by Magic Bot, they became like an absolute essential that I have to have in my game, because it's just really weird that you have, if you're like me and you're using tons of alpha CC and you make this really realistic Sim and then they just have like these Lego feet. It comes with a lot of different varieties of toenail polish that you can add. We've got like a set of sort of naturals. They've got like some really cool gradients and like some chipped polish, which again adds to the realism. And it also works with like the in-game toenail polish and other custom toenail polish. So definitely a great feature to have in the game. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at is everything within body. So usually start by picking a skin tone. I have like a lot of custom content skin tones in my game. Sometimes I'll use the ones that come in the game and use the slider, and then other times I might pull from one of my custom ones. This set right here is a set of skin tones by Miss Blue, and I really like it because it adds this like body shine to the Sims that kind of makes them look a lot more realistic. So if you're looking for just a nice base skin tone with a little more definition, this one is really, really nice, and it works just great with skin overlays. But we've got a full range, so we go like from a full range of dark to light skin tones with the Miss Blue CC, which is really nice. My reshader brightens things a lot, so if we look at this without reshade, you can see like just how like dark and light we can go. With reshade though, it does change it a little bit, so just to kind of give you that like disclaimer at the beginning, the way it looks on my screen might be a little bit different from yours because my reshade is super bright and super saturated. And another great CC pack for skin tones is the Melanin pack by X Mira Mira. It's definitely an essential to have in your game to add more diversity for darker skin tones and better depictions. So I've got all of those in my game as well. So those are just some of my absolute favorite skin tones that I tend to use, and again with my reshade it looks a little bit different, so definitely you can play around with that. The skin tones that you like are going to kind of depend on the way that you have the lighting set up in your game. And yeah, it's really nice because these custom skin tones do work with the different sliders as well, so it's not like you're stuck you know, you don't have to feel like you can't use the sliders and darken and lighten like the undertones just because it's a piece of CC. You can still kind of use it the same way you would use the ones in the base game. So with that said, with that skin tone, you might also notice that the skin in general looks a little bit different. I do have a default replacement skin. I believe it is the Papillon skin by Vive. A skin replacement is really, really nice to have in the game because that way when you have like random townies and stuff, you have like a nice default that just looks good in game, even if you go in and replace the overlays for each of your sims like I do. So the next step is going to be her, like the actual shape of her body. I do have like a custom hip slider by Lumia, and this comes with the height slider mod as well. So I tend to make my sims like different varying heights. It can be a little bit tricky and mess with some animations in the game, but I still like to do different heights. And I absolutely love this hip slider because I don't know, it just gives you a lot more options. But another really awesome thing to have are body presets. So I have a ton of body presets in my game, as you can see. My absolute favorite set though that I use the most is this set by Vibrant Pixels. It just tends to give a really nice shape, and you know, not everything is perfect. It looks so much more realistic and I love that. And so there's a couple of different ones that you can use. And one thing that I will say about body presets is that they're not going to, just because you see a picture of a body preset, it doesn't mean it's going to change your sim to look exactly like that picture, because it kind of depends on what the body mass and the muscle mass of the sim already is. So sometimes your presets, when you put them on your sim, it might look a little bit wonky. Remember, the preset isn't necessarily there to make your sim look like exactly like that picture. It's to give you shapes that you can then play with. So I typically tend to choose a preset. So I really like this one because you can see like sort of like the different like definition that we have with like the hips and everything, the hip dips, and it's just nice. It's just so much more realistic looking. And then from there, I tend to play with the shapes of my sims. So let's see, we're gonna give her a nice big butt because I have a big butt and I like to give big butt to my sims. I definitely want to give her some wider hips. I tend to give my sims like wider waists. We love body diversity, all body types. You can kind of see how you can work within that body preset. So you're not limited to just what the body preset gives you. You can still change the sim, but it gives you these shapes that you wouldn't normally be able to get with the game. And I am going to, another thing I always do is I bring their boobs down because for whatever reason, the default boobs are always like all the way up here, and that's just not realistic. I usually do give them better posture, and then I'll kind of bring the boobies down just a little bit. That's kind of how I work with the body presets, and again, I'll be doing a video where I talk about different body presets. So once you have, once I have like the body the way that I want, I will then move into the face and the face presets. I have a lot of face presets. So for her nose, there's really two like creators that I use presets from the most, actually probably three. I love these nose presets by Blood Moon. I think they're really, really nice. I especially love this one with like the wider nose. I also love the ones by Symbionts. They're amazing, and they're also really helpful to get like wider noses and more diversity in your game. And again, it's not like I'm gonna necessarily leave her nose exactly like this, but it just gives me more room to work, and I can kind of play with her nose and the different shapes that it'll allow me to have. So then the third creator that I'm gonna highlight here is Evoxer, and they have really, really cute little nose presets as well. I think I'm actually gonna go with this nose by Sims. So not any of the three I highlighted, but I actually kind of like this one by Sims. And then from there, you can go in and kind of edit like the details. It's just nice to have these custom presets because they tend to give you shapes and sizes that are a little bit harder to get with the game, and then from there you can tweak them. So the next set of presets we're going to go in are the lips. I have a ton of lip presets. There's some really nice lip presets by Miko. This one here is really cute because it actually gives you the option to have like sort of an open mouth, which is cool. And then there's also like just, these ones are just so cute and add so much shape. These ones almost remind me of like doll lips. I think I like this one though. I really like the shape of this. So again, I'm not gonna leave her lips just like this. I'm just gonna utilize this shape to kind of get to where I want. So I think we're gonna make them a lot bigger. So again, with the presets, you're really just looking at the shape. I don't know why, but I tend to kind of get rid of the smirks and like make my Sims look a little bit angrier. I've gotten like the nose and the lips. There's also different like jaw presets that you can use and chin presets and cheek presets. So there are a lot of options. So like I have these cheek presets by Obscurus, which just kind of like bring the cheeks, like give you some higher cheekbones. I don't tend to use chin presets too often for my female Sims. I use them more for my male Sims to get like stronger jaw lines. For the females, I tend to just kind of like tweak them as I see fit. So some of my favorite eye presets are actually by Evoxer. Again, they were a creator that I highlighted with the nose. I love their eye presets. Like this is just such a pretty shape. Now, sometimes the eye presets come out amazing. Sometimes they look weird. It just depends on the sim that you're starting with. But the ones by Evoxer, this set is my absolute favorite. I love using them. So I think we're gonna go with this, and then I'm just gonna make a few tweaks. So I've kind of got her face where I want it. Again, I'll kind of tend to tweak this as I go with skin details and stuff, but you can kind of see that I've created this base, her body and her face, using presets to kind of help me kind of get past some of the limitations of the sliders and everything that are built into the game. So we've got our base. So now let's do something about these terrible eyebrows. So I usually do eyebrows first before skin details because it helps me like kind of finalize the shape of the face. I tend to use eyebrows by GoPalsme, by Praline Sims, by Obscurus Sims, and then I also have some, I think I'm actually gonna go with these. These are by Alphsci. But they're a little less, they're like slightly bushier than what I usually do. I really like this one for her, especially if we're going for a more hyper realistic look. So again, this is by Alphsci. I really love all of their eyebrows. I do have a eyebrow slider that I love, and that's by MagicBot. And it just kind of allows a little bit more like control over the eyebrows. Like I'm able to kind of move them around a little bit more than the way that the game kind of lets me do it. So the next thing after the eyebrows that I tend to do is I tend to go ahead and pop on over to skin details. The very first thing that I do when looking for skin details is I tend to look for a skin overlay before I do anything else. I want to find a skin overlay that I think is going to match my sim the best. So one of my absolute favorites, and we're going to try that out first, is actually, I think, technically considered a Maxis Match skin detail. You can use Maxis Match skin details as like a base for your overlay, and then you can add other alpha details to still give your Sims a more realistic look. So I love this skin detail by Kindle Spice, and it actually does look more alpha to me, but it's technically considered Maxis Match. I think that this skin is so beautiful. If I'm really struggling to find a skin detail that I like for my Sims, I usually will go to this one. It has a bunch of different options for eyelids, which I really like. So I love this one by Kindle Spice, and that is called the Fairy Fire skin. So it's really nice. I absolutely love it, and I love just like the shine that it adds to the face. Another skin detail creator that I tend to gravitate towards is Sims 3 Melancholic. They have really nice skin details, and these are definitely more ultra realistic. And one thing that I like is that a lot of their skin details have some defining characteristics. Like this one actually gives her like some moles on her body, which is super nice. I just love that because it helps kind of differentiate your Sims. Another skin detail creator that I really love lately is the Darkstone. They have more realistic skin details, which I think are really nice. And one important thing to note here, Everything that I tend to use for my skin details, like my base skin, is an overlay. I don't ever normally use the skins that change the skin tone of the sim. I pick my skin tone using the skin tone selector and with some CC skin tones, and then I go for an overlay. So a lot of alpha simmers might prefer to use a full skin, which will change the skin color of your sim. So this is an example of a skin versus an overlay. So in this case, I can actually change, you know, her entire like colorization of her skin here. And these can be really cool for like occult sims. So I do have skins like this for occults, but for my regular sims, I tend to prefer to use overlays. I'm just not as big of a fan of the full skin because it changes the color of their skin, and then I feel like that messes with the genetics, like it doesn't work as well because your genetics for your sims are being pulled from the skin tone itself. I tend to prefer using an overlay, which simply it uses the existing skin tone, but then it just overlays on top of the features. So like this one is another one by Sims 3 Melancholic. And again, it has varying shades of light to dark, so you can lighten or darken with the overlay, but it's not changing her skin tone, if that makes sense. And see, this one, actually, this one is really, really nice on her. And as I kind of pick my overlays, that's when I start kind of going in and slightly tweaking some of the facial features. Now that I have picked out my skin detail overlay, so that's like the main skin for her. So then I usually kind of go back through and we want to add our essentials. One of my absolute favorite pieces of skin detail CC are these lip overlays. They are amazing because if you think that if you're using an alpha skin detail and you think that the lips are maybe too harsh, you can use these overlays to kind of tone it down a little bit, and it shapes their lips differently just by adding different highlights. And I absolutely love this piece of CC. I use this on almost all of my sims, male and female frame. I just love it. Like this one just gives her like kind of a pouty lip, and I think that's really nice. Another absolute must-have for me is this, it's actually a blush, but it's set as a skin detail, and it is by Glitch Syndrome, I believe. And if you see just the impact it makes, the realism it adds to the face, it's a blusher and it adds like some freckles, but it just instantly just gives your sim a more realistic look. So you could have more of a Maxis Match skin overlay, and then you add this and instantly you have this pop of detail. Like we've actually got pores now, we've got some spots on the face, and a little bit of like a blush that adds some color. You can go from different like darkness ranges. I do have the color sliders mod by the Pancake One, and with that you can actually also change the opacity of skin details now, which is really, really essential when you're adding things like blushers that aren't like a makeup blush, because sometimes with different skin tones you don't want it to be such a bright pink. So I actually really like, let's see, we're gonna go with this tone here, and I might just bring the opacity down just a little bit. So another staple for me is this About Face kit by Pixis. It has so many different options to add different shadows to your sim's face. So we've just got like a range of options that it can add like different highlights, it can add different contouring effects. It just kind of changes what is and isn't highlighted on your sim's face, and I absolutely love it because like this just kind of instantly changes how her nose looks just by adding a little bit more of a shadow, and it's a subtle shadow too. It's not like anything glaring, and it gives you so many options of just subtle ways to change the details on your sim's face. It also has like some really nice lip details that I like. So I actually tend to use this several times on my sim. I tend to use it a little bit for the nose and a little bit for the lips. So let me see. It also has some that kind of darken or lighten under the eyes. I actually really like how that looks on her eyes, so I think I'm gonna keep that one, and then we're gonna add it a couple more times. One really helpful mod for you when you're trying to layer skin details are these Tidy Details by Sparrow. I'll link that as well, but it adds these cards that help you separate out your skin details so you can see where you're able to layer it. So I know that I can only choose one piece of CC in this layer, and then I can move on and choose another one in this layer. So you can see this Pixis face kit that I just showcased. It's actually in so many of the layers, so I'm able to actually use it a couple of different times. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add another one for her lips. Yeah, I really, really liked kind of how this gave her like a more pouty lip right there. I think that's really pretty. So another piece of CC that I tend to use quite often on my Sims is this Alexa R. It's like a Time to Shine. It's a nose shiner. Now she's already got like a pretty glossy overlay, so this might end up being a little bit much, but you know what? Maybe we'll be a little extra today. But this just adds like a nice kind of shine to the nose that again adds to that realism. But I really love this piece of CC. I use it quite often on my Sims, especially on my little toddlers. It looks really cute on them. And the last skin detail kind of essential that I'm going to highlight is this cosmetic nose contour. I don't know if I really love it on this particular Sim with the skin tone I picked out for her, but as you can see, this just adds a lot more definition to the nose. There's a lot of contours by this creator that you can use for skin details in general, all different parts of the face, but this nose contour is one of my favorites, and you can see it kind of adds just like a little bit more definition here and here. But I actually this time am not going to use it on her because I kind of like her nose the way that it is. There's other things you can do, like several different nose mask overlays. This one by the Peachy Fairy is really, really nice, and it has like multiple different sort of like darkness of overlay, so you can use it for multiple different skin tones, but it's a really, really nice nose overlay. Also by the Peachy Fairy are these really nice mouth corners. I have a couple of mouth corners I use. I have some by Praline that I like as well, but I think these by the Peachy Fairy are really, really nice. They just add like, you know, kind of like a little bit more definition to your Sim. And if you want to get away from like the same face syndrome with your Sims, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think some people develop a style where they have like, you know, the Sims always have certain features in common, and I think that's great. But if you want to do stuff where you have defining characteristics for each of your Sims, little things like these mouth corners are amazing to have. That is pretty much what I do for skin details. I actually did use a skin detail that was in the freckles category. So I'll probably talk a little bit more about freckles when I do a full skin details video. In her case though, I've kind of used up about everything I can. The next thing that I tend to do is I go ahead and work on the eyes and the eyelashes. So one thing that I want to go over with eyelashes, there's sort of a bit of an issue that most people have with CC eyelashes. There's lashes that are accessories and they're under glasses, and the ones that most people use, which are amazing, are these Kajiko eyelashes. There's a lot of variety of them. You can do, I mean, you can have really bold looks, you can have really subtle looks. They're great. They still are probably my absolute favorite of the CC eyelashes. But one of the issues that you can run into with these is that if you have a Sim and you want them to wear glasses, you can't have these eyelashes. So one piece of CC that I wanted to highlight is actually a set of eyelashes by Sims, and they fall just in the general accessories category in piercings. And you can still have piercings in like other categories. It's just kind of at this tippy top. These eyelashes by Sims I think are so pretty, and they're really subtle, but you can also do some really big ones. Like these ones are a lot more defined, and I think those actually look really, really cute on her. So I've got a couple of versions. This is version 4, and then this is version 5. And I like these a lot because they're a little more natural looking, so if you're not looking to do like really big, but they've also got those options for a little bit more defined eyelashes. And then you can use something like this, and then if I go into the glasses category, I can very easily pop a set of glasses on her, and then she's got her glasses and her eyelashes, which I think is super, super nice. A lot of people will use skin detail lashes instead, and I do have those, but the issue with the skin detail lashes is they tend to clip with a lot of accessories, jewelry, and nails, and I use so many accessories that I actually prefer to use the accessory lashes instead, just because I don't like to have that clipping issue. Now that does mean that I then have to go to every single outfit and add the eyelashes, but I'm pretty used to doing that at this point. So another set of eyelashes that I really like are by Dreamgirl. These can help you get like really, really big, crazy eyelashes, which I really, really like some of the time for my Sims. The next thing that I would do is I would give her some CC eyes. So you might notice that I have default eyes. These are just my replacements. They are actually a conversion of these Eyes by Crybabies. They don't like exist online for download, but I'll put a link to the original eyes themselves. And then this is a conversion of taking those contacts and making them default replacements. So these are really pretty and I like them, but I tend not to use them as my like standard eyes. Like those are just kind of the ones that are under it. I always tend to go for contacts. I don't know, I get like really overwhelmed when it's crowded like this and I can't see what the eye looks like. So like I'm just kind of randomly clicking around trying to find it. I usually just make sure that her eye color is correct, and then I actually am going to pick out her eyes in the face paint category. I have a ton, but I'm really, really picky about eyes. I don't like for them to be too faded looking. I like them to be really, really striking. So I am really picky, and I have a ton of eyes by a ton of creators, but honestly, my go-to has been Gopalsmy. I just tend to gravitate towards them. Every time I try to use something different, it doesn't really work out. My secondary would be Sims 3 Melancholic, which I mentioned them for skin details. I do like their eyes as well, but I tend to like the eyes that Gopalsmy does the best. Like, I mean, these are just so pretty and they have just so much realism to them. Like there's some redness around the edges. Like they look like human eyes, which I absolutely love. And they have so many different options too. Like none of them are the same. So definitely hands down my favorite creator for eyes. I think for her, we're actually going to use the G21s by Gopalsmy, which I don't use that often, but I think these look really nice on her. And then sometimes with the contacts, you do have to edit like the size of the pupil. So even if the size of the pupil is fine normally, you might just have to change it with the contacts. I think those are really, really pretty and really, really striking on her, and they look really good with her eyelashes. So those are her eyes, and then again, I would usually go ahead and add those to each outfit. Another thing that we can do if we really want to customize these eyes, there's actually another accessory by Pixis, these eye highlights, and they're really, really nice to just add a little bit more character to your eyes. So even if you've got really stunning CC eyes, you might want to just do something cool with your Sims eyes, and they have all of these different like eye flecks that you can add to the eyes to kind of change how they look. It's the tiny details that I love. I mean, I know like when you're in game, maybe you're not looking this close at the Sims eyeballs, but I love these little details. Like, look how pretty that is. So the next thing that I tend to do is I tend to pick out a hair. One of the more realistic hair creators that I really like is Ade or Ade. I'm not sure how you say it. And this one they just have such stunning textures. They're so realistic looking. Now, I will tell you, alpha hair takes up lots of space on your computer, especially these. I kind of fell in love with this hair, and there's a couple of different variations of it. Now, it does come with the hat, so if I were to like give her an outfit without a hat, I could use, there's a couple of other hair options that are in that same color scheme, but I love this hair so much by them. And there are some different options for it, so I can have it where we've got the hair completely in the front. There's also an option where you can put the hair in the back. Then you can have the left side in the front, or you can have the right side in the front. Or actually, I think I have that reversed. But I think it's so pretty, and you can see that they have like tons of different ombre options. Like we've got like some really nice bold colors. Like look how pretty that is, guys. I'm trying to decide if I want to go for like an unnatural hair for her, or if I want to go for a more natural color. I'm struggling because part of me really wants to go unnatural, but then another part of me really loves like this sort of darker like roots. You know what? Let's just go bold. Let's just go go for it. Let's go bold. And we're gonna give her this fun hair color. I absolutely am in love with that. So there's this option here where I can change out the style of the hat. So I can give her like any color within like the range that they have. I can have it have text on it. I can take the text away. There's a lot of other amazing hair creators just off the top of my head. We've got Anto, Simpliciati, Ebonics, Wings, S Club, Nightcrawler, Aid. Stealthic used to create a lot of hair. They don't do it anymore, but they have some great hairs. I've got a lot by Caleros Urbanos. I've got a lot by Redhead Sims. I've got a lot by Graffiti. Tons and tons of hairs. When I will go through a lot of those. Ooh, Baddie Sims also has really nice hairs. So I will go through all of those in a separate video, but I just wanted to kind of highlight a few right now. So really the next step for me is just to kind of pick out things like piercings, tattoos, accessories, and clothes. I'm just going to highlight a few of my essentials because we've pretty much created our sim here at this point. So one collection of piercings that's really nice is by MagicBot. There's just your standard piercings, but it's just like your standard nose hoop. We've got like a lot of varying options though, which are really nice. I think though we are going to go with, I think she would look really cute with a septum. I have a lot of really cool septum piercings by Blawberry Pancake. Like I absolutely just adore this CC, and there's so many different options. Like we've got like a nice little pride one. That pride one is actually so cute on her. Praline has really nice nose rings. Sometimes though, with a lot of CC piercings, I think even with in-game piercings, if you're using a lot of custom presets for noses and like lips and stuff, sometimes the piercings work and sometimes they don't, depending on the shape. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, Praline has a lot of nice ones. You can do like tons of different piercings. I love to find, I'm like really big on piercings. I always have been since I was like 18 years old. So I love really unique piercings and I love giving them to my Sims. Like you could give like a Monroe. That's actually really cute. Okay, so I've got a bunch by Suzu. I really love their accessories. And they've actually got like a couple of placement options. So you can see, you can just have lots of fun with piercings for your Sims. This is what I love about CC, is all of the cool stuff you can do. So I'm actually going to give her this tattoo set by Sugar Owl. I absolutely love this. I actually think I used the same tattoo on Jace in my Crybaby Whim series, but I just love this tattoo set. Sugar Owl has some really nice tattoos on the Sims resource. I don't have a lot of CC nails downloaded from after we got the Spa Day pack, so I have a few by a creator, Uno, who I really love. Ooh, I love this, like the more almond shaped nails. These are by Dissia. I have a lot more I want to download. Like Urban Sims has some French nails that I want to get. So I've given her like all of her accessories. I know it seems kind of weird to do accessories first, but I like to kind of do like that as my base. I'm gonna go ahead and style her. I have dressed her girl, so I'm going to go through the pieces that I added just to kind of highlight the creators for you and show you. So we're going to start with her shoes. These are by Dissia. Technically they are a Maxis Match creator, I believe, but I do mix Maxis Match and Alpha. My Sims just tend to be more Alpha looking because I use Alpha hair and like more detailed skin details, but I do mix and match as far as clothing and accessories go. So these are by Dissia. I absolutely adore these. I think they are so cute. And then her pants are by Graffiti. I absolutely love this creator. I'm sub to their Patreon. They have amazing quality Alpha CC, and you can see like lots of different swatch colors. And her top is actually by Marmalade Sim TR. They are a creator on the Sims resource. And I thought this top was really cute because it just has like all of the fun safety pins. I really like a lot of their stuff. I have a ton of that in my game. I gave her rings by one of my favorite accessory creators and actually clothing creators, Christopher 067. So really pretty. Let me see if I can get you like a close-up of the rings. So really nice detailed rings. I think they're super cute. I love to accessorize my Sims. Her necklace, I'm actually not sure who the creator is for this one, so I will be looking that up in my tray importer, and I will make sure that I have Pretty much all of the CC that I've used on this sim, as well as the stuff that I've called out in this video, I will have links to in the document. Typically, at this point, the last step for me would be to do the makeup. One of my absolute favorite makeup creators is actually technically considered a Maxis Match makeup creator, but Cryptic Sim does really nice makeup, and I really like their eyeshadow because it works really nicely on multiple different skin tones. Another creator that I've really been enjoying their eyeshadows is Remus Sirion, which I think most people, like, when they know of this creator, they think about like the skin details and overlays, but they have really nice eye makeup for Sims as well, and it's more alpha, but some of the pieces can be like intense, but a lot of times I find that it doesn't change the shape of the eyelid, which is really nice. And then the third creator I want to highlight is Peachy Fairy. They just do really nice makeup. Again, I think this is a little bit more on the Maxis Match side, but again, this has worked like really nicely for all skin tones. So I've really been enjoying their eyeshadow palettes a lot lately. You know, just because you want to make an alpha sim, it doesn't mean that you have to use only alpha CC. Like, you can make your sim look really alpha using Maxis Match CC still. And same with, you know, a lot of Maxis Match creators are doing like Maxis Mix, where they'll use alpha clothing, but they just kind of stick with Maxis Match skin tones and hair. So for my eyeliners, I have quite a bit in my game, but honestly my default eyeliner is this. It's like part of a set by Praline Sims. I really like this lithium eyeliner for like a stronger eye, like under eyeliner. And then the Kira is actually probably my go-to if I want to make it like a little less intense. For blush, she really doesn't need any because of the skin tone that I picked out for her kind of comes with like a natural blush. So I'm actually not going to use a blusher on her, especially because her hair is kind of in her face. But my favorite blush to use on like all of my Sims, and it works with a lot of skin tones, is this Celebrity blush by 4W25. They're another really amazing CC creator. So you can kind of see this is the Celebrity blush. There's actually two versions of it, and it looks really nice for like the higher cheekbones. And then I just usually bring the opacity down a lot with the blush. Again, Remus Sirion has amazing lip colors, and it doesn't change the shape of the lips too much, which is something I really like about them. So I just kind of randomized her name. This is Rowan Diaz, you guys. So I actually really like her. I think she came out super cute. I completely forgot, guys, and I always forget this. I forgot to check her teeth, which is a good thing because I need to get her some better teeth. So I actually have a lot of teeth in my game, but I do have some default replacement teeth by MagicBot. So we are gonna just go ahead and get her the normal ones. They're more realistic than the ones in game. So I actually have them set as a default replacement, but you do just have to double check the teeth, and I always forget because sometimes your sim will end up with some funky looking teeth. So I know we did a female frame sim. If I was to do a male, the only difference really is that I would usually tend to add facial hair if I want to give them a beard, and I would also add body hair in tattoos. I will, as part of the CC Showcase series, I will highlight some stuff that is good for males. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was helpful to you, and you know what your process is for making your Sims. If you did enjoy this video, please do give me a thumbs up. That helps let me know that you enjoy this type of content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!